from high atop 1926 Hollywood Boulevard. You're listening to SoFloRadio.com. ZNation. ZNation. Where consciousness is queen, love really is the answer. And making a difference is on the menu. ZNation. Organic beats and inspiring treats. Get your weekly dose of vitamin Z now. This is ZNation on SoFloRadio.com.
Namaste and welcome. This is the ZNation radio show, and we are broadcasting live from Hollywood, Florida. Here we are. Welcome, everyone. Yay! I am Zayna de Gaia.
And I am Emily Sunset Martinez.
And we're so excited. Today's show is a special show. We have a panel of yoga teachers that have come to share with us about what it is to teach yoga in the world today and have that be like your gig, your career, your mission. So welcome, you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
So happy to be here.
Yes. Honored. Awesome. So we have Deedre Morales. Kimberly, Unik.
Hello.
Sergio Mora. Julie Halpern.
Hi there.
And Emily Sunset Martinez.
Hi.
And myself, Zayna de Gaia. We all have that in common, is that we have made yoga not only our lifestyle, but our career path. And so this show today is, for those of you who either teach yoga or looking to teach yoga or just interested in, what it looks like right now in 2016 to be somebody who is teaching yoga as a full-time thing. And, myself personally, I started on this path, I would say, I did my first teacher training in 1995. I was 25 years old, and I'm going to be 36 this year. So a decade of teaching yoga, being out in the world, sharing yoga in various ways. And, from my personal experience, I can say this has been life-changing for me. And, if I look at myself 11 years ago, I would be shared skitless. I'd be be scared shitless to look at, the risks that I take now and how I view life is extraordinary for me. That sure, I teach yoga, and, I remember doing my first yoga teacher training, getting present to wow, this is about being somebody who serves and being somebody who makes a difference in the world. And my first yoga teacher training got me present to wow, I can get myself out of the way and be about others. And that was the first time that I saw myself as somebody that cared about others authentically and wanted to make a difference authentically. It wasn't anymore about me or my career or making money. It was about how can I serve the world. And yoga teacher training for me gave me that new, new lens and this new way of seeing myself out there. And it scared me because I didn't know what to do with that. And after I did my first yoga teacher training, I was terrified to teach yoga. And instead of teaching yoga, I delved into the business world more and started I started scrambling for ways to make money because I couldn't figure out how to make my passion my world. So it actually took me a few years to actually commit to this path. So I would say for the first 4 to 5 years, I dabbled in teaching. I taught maybe a class or two a week, and I did a lot of subbing. Subbing gives you a lot of experience. And taking on as many subs as I could, I started teaching, but I still wasn't confident that this would really be it for me, And I would say when I embarked on a yoga tour with, at the time, my partner Moses, that's when it became really real for me. That's when I gave up my apartment and I gave everything I was up to at that moment and embarked in, I'm just going to go on the road and I'm going to share yoga. And I remember having I had one bucket, like one of those big moving buckets, and that's where all my clothing was. I went from 2 walk-in closets to a bucket of clothes and a smaller bucket with my shoes. I think I had 3 pairs of shoes, and that was a big deal for me because I really loved shoes. But that changed everything. But what mostly it changed for me is it gave me the trust that I needed to know that what I had was enough. And I didn't have to go out and get any other education. I didn't have to go out and even do any more trainings in yoga, though I did. I've been studying for the last decade. What I realize is those things are powerful to have. You want to have as much in your toolkit so that you can really harmonize and discover for yourself who you really are and what you really have to share that's unique to you. Because each yoga teacher is so different. And we offer ourselves, really. We offer our authentic selves. But what I discovered through all of that, through all of the learning and all of the workshops and all of the trainings I took is what I have, my uniqueness is me. And whatever my gifts are unique to me. And what I discovered was one of my unique gifts is I can love. And I could love you even if you're the one that nobody loves. I can love the unlovables. And I didn't have to go to school for that. I didn't have to get trained for that. It was a unique gift that I have, to really have compassion and open heart be something that's at the center of my being. So, once I got that about myself and I got that it's valuable and it's needed in the world, it really allowed me to go for it. And I've been going for it since, and I would say for people, if it's, if you're passionate about sharing yoga in the world or sharing love in the world or, sharing the benefits that you got, because that's really what there is to share, your experience and use whatever it is that's your niche. If your thing is, drugs and alcohol and addiction and that was your struggle, then share that and go out and help people be free from that so they can discover who they truly are too. If your thing is music and exploring, God through music, then share that. Whatever it is that is your thing, do it. And mostly don't try to, look to the right and look to the left and see what everybody else is doing, and don't compare yourself.
Create that shit.
Yeah, like we say in yoga class, don't keep your eye on your yoga mat, keep your eye on your path. And keep expanding and exploring your own path. So that's my experience. I wanted to share a little bit about it, and we're gonna continue the panel now and talk to the different yoga teachers about your experience and how it is for you to be I'm gonna call it a full-time yoga teacher, but you may not do yoga full-time, but evidently that's who you are in your life and it's what you bring in anything that you do. Mm-hmm. So we'll start with Deedre. D. Morales.
Thank you so much.
Hey, girl. So tell us a little bit so we can kind of, get an idea. How long have you been teaching and how you got into it?
In 2008, I took my first teacher training course here in South Florida, and it had been calling to me for a while. You practice yoga on and off for a few years. I was pregnant with my first son, and I took prenatal yoga religiously. So twice a week, I think the class was, and I just fell in love with it. And it really was inspiring to me and took me to places that I hadn't really explored before. Mm. And I had, unfortunately, a difficult childbirth experience with my first son, and so I had postpartum depression, and I had the tools in my toolbox though, so I went back to yoga, and it helped me so much. It saved me. You hear people say that all the time, but it really saved me.
Yeah.
So I'm getting emotional already talking about it. It's like I feel shaky because it I wanted to share that with everybody.
Yes.
So I took my first teacher training course, and I think, that finished up in 2009, and I became certified, and I also was absolutely scared to death. And I felt I wasn't good enough. I felt I didn't have everything that it took to be out there in front of people. There were people in my class that were better than me, and I didn't really understand that that's not what it's about back then.
Yes.
So I taught, I subbed, and then I started teaching kids yoga because that just felt more comfortable for me because
Yeah.
I had kids, and it just became very comfortable for me.
Did you do a training in kids?
I did, yeah, I did. It was a small training, and I also trained with Julie too, like more recently too. So yeah, and then I took another teacher training course just recently with Z, with Moses, and I was able now to make this more of a full-time career for me because I got that confidence back that I needed, and slowly we still move, and every day it's like, that mind keeps playing with you, and
So what does it look like for you right now to teach full time?
crazy busy. You need to be very flexible and very organized. I teach at I Love Yoga.
Mm-hmm.
I teach at Harmony House Yoga, and I teach also for Cindy's Fitness Experience, and she provides a lot of different hotel gigs for me, so I get to teach on Fort Lauderdale Beach, and it's really been amazing.
Awesome.
And
How many classes do you teach a week, approximately?
right now, 6 classes a week.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes 8 if I do the kids yoga too.
Yeah.
At the hotels, and then I'm also a substitute teacher for Broward County, so
Okay.
supplement with that, and then I also teach chess to kids, so
Wow.
another little program that I have. So teaching.
Yeah.
And then I also have private clients. So, and that's ebbs and flows. So,
And how did you get the different jobs? Was it through knowing people? Did you go out and do auditions,
not auditions, but
interviews?
I guess interviews.
Yeah.
And teach a class.
Yeah.
See how well you fit in with the group, with the clients, and
I guess it depends where you go. Like I'm looking like, there's so many places teachers can go teach, whether it's a yoga studio or a hotel, but it would be different, where you go. Like if you go to a yoga studio, they may already have a style of yoga or a vibe of teachers already going. Like I think of I Love Yoga Studio, because we run teacher trainings. People come and ask us all the time, do you hire teachers? And I have to say, well, we do, but we already have a lot of teachers, and I tell them, come hang out, so you can meet the teachers and then you could possibly sub for them. But then if you go to like a hotel or a gym, you just show up and there's not that kind of space there. You just show up and here I am, and they get to pick you amongst all these different people that come in. And what makes you stand out?
No, and also when you teach in a hotel or maybe a corporate environment, sometimes the teaching style is a little bit different. At I Love Yoga, we get to incorporate all of our woo-woo. Yeah. And it's wonderful. I know sometimes we teach a couple of classes at I Love Yoga, and then I have to change to, the Ritz-Carlton or someplace else. And, you need to adjust. Yes.
Wow.
So, it's really about knowing who you're with, too, and what they want and what they're looking for. And sometimes, we just sense that.
I'm going to read something that I wrote we were talking about before. CNN ranks yoga instructors in the top 100 careers with big growth, great pay. This article on Yoga Dork says, but forgets one thing. But they talk about being a yoga teacher, and he cites here that the median pay for yoga teachers is $62,400 a year. Wow. I know, we're all looking around. We're like, which planet?
Right? I'm like, where's this at?
What country?
Sign me up.
So in your experience, Dee, and you don't have to declare, amounts if you don't want to. And you're all welcome to share as much as you want and as little as you want. But in your experience, is it sustainable for you to teach yoga and actually get your bills paid and, have a house over your head and all that?
I think it is, but you need to teach an awful lot.
Yeah.
And, you get paid differently the places that you teach. Some studios pay you per person, some pay you per class. When I work for the other company, I get paid per class, whether or not anybody shows up. So that's always nice, because you spend your time driving, you spend your time preparing, and
It really is. I think when people start to realize and actually treat it as it is a career path, it's the real deal, and just like a dentist, and, we are professionals. And when we show up as professionals, it really starts to shift things. And it is, there's such a range of amounts that teachers get paid depending really on the situation. And I want to say depending on how much you are willing to receive or how little you're willing to receive. And I think when we start out, we get this idea of like yoga and I want to give it away, and, money for spirituality is not good, et cetera, et cetera. Or, I just want to give it. I want to give it. And one thing that I've learned is being of service doesn't mean you don't take money.
It's energy.
It's a way of being. We are servants, and we're sharing from our hearts, and what we're bringing is so valuable. It's so valuable. And right now, what we are offering, what you're an expert in, is so needed in the world. We are like in big demand, and it's important to recognize that you're a professional. With business expenses, and you have you need a car to get yourself to teach, and then you also take time to prepare for class and decompress after, and prepare yourself before, and get yourself in state before. So there's a lot involved that people don't see.
I see like a therapy. It's like you don't go to a psychiatrist or a therapist office and not pay for having that time of just total attention on you. And when we go, it's about you. It is. That's, we're there, and it's energy.
They totally wouldn't expect you, they wouldn't wonder if they're going to get paid or not. Have you run into that where people, because you're a yoga teacher, they expect you to do it for free?
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah. It's cultural, and I think you get to choose. Sometimes you want to give it away as karma. Like, it's like tithing. You select a certain amount of your income that you give away and give back to God, whether it's 10%, 20%, whatever you choose it to be, and whatever God is for you. But it's like our time and our energy is also a commodity. It's a resource. It's something we exchange, So perhaps you have 10% of your time and energy a week that you give away to God, to the universe for free, though there's nothing for free. But you give it away in service, which means I don't expect anything back, and just let that go into the universe. But then you have the other rest, the balance of your time and energy that is valuable and is exchanged in the marketplace. And I'm talking the marketplace of life, So Dee, thank you so much. Is there anything else you want to share or you want to say to people who are looking at being teachers or who maybe want to make yoga their full-time thing?
I want to say you are good enough. And you can be and do whatever you want. I have a theater background, so I always used to go into being a certain teacher. You have a few teachers that you love, and you want to be just like them, and you want to act like them, and it just never felt comfortable for me. So until you settle into your own body, your own voice, it feels so much better, so much more comfortable. So don't try and be somebody else. I mean, you can take all of those, beautiful teachings from those teachers and incorporate them somehow into what you do, but you don't have to be just like them. Be yourself.
Awesome. Awesome. And I want to add, one thing that you brought up is like, the confidence. You don't start off with the confidence maybe, but like the teaching gives you the confidence, and then years later now it's just there's a whole persona there's a presence about you right now that's so inspiring and so confident. And I just want to acknowledge that. Thank you for sharing.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Yay.
Thank you,
all the yoga teachers put our hands together in prayer position at the same time. Y'all should have seen us at the beginning of the show, rubbing our hands, holding hands, meditating. Kimberly, Unik.
Hello.
Hi, Mama. So good to have you here.
It's so good to be here.
Yay.
I love you, and I love your show, and I'm so excited.
Yay. I've been wanting to have you on the show.
I've been wanting to be on the show.
Yay. Awesome, girl. So tell us about you. How long have you been teaching? How did you come into this?
Okay, so I've been teaching for about the past 2 years. I did my teacher training with you and Moses in 2014. Yes. As far as coming into the practice, I probably took my first yoga class back in 2008. My aunt invited me to a yoga class at like the Y or some rec center that she was going to, and I had never done it before, but I like being invited to things and I like saying yes. So I went, and it was really awkward and weird. And then at the very end of class, if you've taken a yoga class and you've laid down in Shavasana, it's one of the most magical experiences. And I was hooked after that. And I went back. I was in college in Austin, Texas. And I took classes between the rec center there on campus because they were free. And then I went to a donation-based studio downtown because I could afford that, being a college student. And it helped me with my anxiety, with depression, with being a struggling college kid, with gaining weight, and just, the struggles of growing up. Mm-hmm. Then I moved to South Florida about 5 years ago, and I had really no friends. And I strengthened my yoga practice a lot by going a lot more regularly and having yoga be my best friend. And, it really helped me adjust being in a new place. And I started a full-time job at a law office.
I remember that.
Yes.
I remember you used to come in your pencil skirts.
Yes, I was in pencil skirts and slacks and blazers and
I forgot about that
professional
world.
wear.
That life.
I don't even remember wearing normal pants now. Like, jeans are weird. Anything I can't stretch, and I'm like, I feel so constricted. But I was working 40, 45 hours a week at a law office. I did really well. I was really stressed out, but I moved up pretty quickly into a managerial position, and I was in charge of people, and I was pulling my hair out and really stressed out. And then my mom was able to give me a gift. And I used that gift to pay for a teacher training. And there was nothing in the world I loved more than yoga, nothing I got more benefit from. And I said, if I could live my life every day in yoga pants, I would be a very happy person. And so I did that, and I took a risk and took a chance and took teacher training. And I was still at my office job after teacher training, and I just picked up a couple of classes on the weekends at I Love Yoga. And just like Deedre mentioned, very insecure. I've never said this out loud in public, but I was hoping nobody came to my classes.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I used to do the same.
No,
thing.
you didn't.
Like, I hope
I'm
nobody
like-
shows up so that, they don't have to see how not good of a teacher I am.
Oh my God.
Thank you for saying that out loud, because I don't know one yoga teacher that hasn't thought that for whatever reason at some point. Yeah.
Yes. And so as I, stepped into the teaching realm, I started noticing that my job at the office was not in alignment with what my life is for. And I started really asking myself the important question of, what is my life for? What am I doing here? What am I doing with this life? And how am I making a difference for myself and other people? And it's not happening at the office in a cubicle that didn't have any windows or fresh air or sunlight. So I'm like a flower. Put me in the sun. I need sunshine. And so after about 6 months or 8 months after teacher training, I decided to quit my job and see what happened. And because I was getting more and more offers to teach.
Yeah.
And I kept on having to decline them because I had a full-time job, and that was not making my heart happy. I wanted to say yes. So I quit, and I started saying yes to opportunities in all kinds of different locations, from yoga studios to gyms to treatment centers for addiction recovery.
Yes.
And social media actually had a big to do with that. People saw me stepping into this person of who I am in my own power and sharing what I'm passionate about. And they started inviting me to come and share. And
How many
that's where I'm
classes
at.
do you teach now?
I'm teaching about 16 classes a week.
16 classes a week.
Yes.
How many different
regularly.
locations?
Between 6 different locations.
And how is that for you, especially in South Florida and I-95? I'm curious.
Yeah, nobody
I have
talks
a very
about
strong
that.
driving meditation. A lot of the times I drive without the radio on. I like to have the windows down if it's not smoldering hot. I like to feel the wind on my face, and I like to breathe. And I be with the traffic and the cars and the people who cut you off and slam on their brakes.
yoga teacher.
I found, you find yourself making traffic wrong and making the other people on the road wrong and really resisting the other cars and being on the road. But the more you resist it, the more you're just going to suffer.
Wow.
So I drive about 1,000 miles a month
Wow.
between the different locations.
And you use the time in the car to meditate
I
and
use the
really
time in the car
do
to
the
meditate.
practice for real.
Yes, that's my practice.
Do a
And what
traffic meditation training.
Yes, I could.
Ooh,
actually.
I
That's a
love
good
it.
idea.
Use the microphone.
That's
You should host a traffic meditation training.
That's a great idea.
That's a good one for South Florida, most definitely.
So, and what is it like for you, Kim, like, as far as your own practice and just being in the yoga in a yoga class a lot? It's a lot of hours.
It's a lot of
teaching.
hours. It's a lot of giving.
A lot
It's
of
a lot
giving.
of sharing.
Yeah.
And what that looks like for me, it's great. And it's also, it can be draining and you can get burned out.
Yeah.
And I find that sometimes my best classes are the ones I don't want to teach.
Yeah.
Like I wake up and I'm like, I really don't want to teach today, or I don't want to, but then I show up and it ends up being, I just speak from my heart and whatever's there. And it ends up being a really great class. And it's like you said, it's not about me. It's about the people who show up. And I'm that student, I'm that person showing up, and I'm still a student, and that's what gets me through teaching so much, is being a student every day. If I can't make it into a class, I'm watching a video online.
Yes.
I'm reading something that inspires me. I'm doing a daily practice every day, finding what I'm passionate about and feeding my soul and giving to myself every day. It's so important
Yeah.
to fill up and to be a student.
Yeah.
So that, that would be my biggest advice for somebody who's pursuing this full time, is continue to be a student and give to yourself every single day.
And I would say,
Absolutely.
well, from what you shared too, is like, take that freaking risk, man.
Yes.
Take the risk, because you're a perfect example. You closed the door and you closed it nicely and gently and gracefully, and all these freaking doors opened up, and they were already opening before you closed it. So open your eyes, y'all, and just see what's possible and being offered in the moment. And the only thing that holds us back is the fear. And F that fear. F it.
I'm still afraid every day. Like I still get nervous. And I
Keep rolling.
I meet that fear and I be with it and, talk about how you feel, in the moment, not directly, don't vent to your class, but how you feel, how I feel is how other people feel. I feel fear, other people experience
And then share
fear.
from your fear.
Yeah.
Oh, so good.
And just be courageous, and say, and my mantra nowadays is yes, thank you. Every experience, everywhere you show up, it's yes, thank you.
Can we all say it?
Yes.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
And I'll make a note. Kimberly likes invitations and she likes to say yes. I don't know. I heard that and I'm like, let me make a note of that.
Yes, I do, and it's also good to recognize like when is it it's okay to say no too.
yeah,
It's
you
okay
gotta
to
have
say
that
no,
balance too.
Thank you,
Yeah,
sister.
know your boundaries.
Thank you for being about it. It's just so inspiring to hear you talk, and you just have this presence about you that's very humble, very great, and very like content with who you are. And that's inspiring. When it's important for yoga teachers, because how we show up, and like you show up so authentic. So you give us all permission to be the same. We love you.
Thank you. I love you.
Thank you.
Big deep breath.
Sergio, Mora, my brother, I love you.
Easy. So happy to be here again.
Repeat. We have a repeat. Welcome back.
Oh, good to be here. Good to be back. Thank you
Awesome.
for having me again.
like world traveling yoga teacher extraordinaire. You're so inspiring, Sergio. Tell us a little bit about how you got into teaching and how that's been for you.
It's been amazing. First of all, I'd like to say it's really cool to represent the males here.
Yeah, because you don't
That's
see a
right.
lot of that. It's always like women teachers, and you don't see a lot of male.
And you don't see a lot of male students either. You know,
And
a lot
it's a very Western thing too,
It
because
is.
in India, if you look at all the teachers, it's male.
yeah.
And then here it's like all females.
And that's why I have a lot of respect for a lot of men in this community, whether it's Yanni or Ricky or Mo or Dominic from the Shala on the beach. The whole #real men do yoga. I think it's really important because a lot of men get into yoga because they go to find a date. and that works. Never seen that before.
It's a nice place to meet people.
It's a nice place, but I think it's more and more. I think men are realizing that it's not, ballet class, and and that's cool too if they want to do that. But
Yeah.
I think that's a powerful thing to hold space for other men.
Awesome.
So how did I get into yoga teaching? I started. I've been practicing since about 2011. It was very healing for me, and just reinventing my stories, coming into my body, realizing that my body is an extension of was very, very powerful for me. Knowing that a physical practice, whether it's walking, whether it's Ashtanga, or whether it's taking a swim every day, but marrying that to a spiritual state of mind, I think is the healthiest, most important thing that anybody could do to prolong or live the best life that they can in this vessel that we've been given while we're here. I think it's super awesome, and I didn't understand it until I started breathing and meditating and taking yoga without really understanding, but just trusting my teachers and knowing something felt right. I eventually got into training at I Love Yoga. I'm entertaining other trainings now, this teacher trainings, but the first one was at I Love Yoga. And it's a lifelong journey. I want to take every training that I can. I want to put everything in my toolbox.
Yes.
But I think the big turn for me was, I really love this. This is really cool. By then I had divorced the law office. I had left that world, and I was wearing that suit for almost 10 years as a legal assistant. And the only thing that kept me in that job for so long is because I treated the clients as if they were ministry. I had a woman that was very religious that worked with me. And she was a very spiritual lady. And she said, what we're doing is a ministry. We're helping these clients. These people are coming to us and they need help. Yeah. And I was like, I get that. Okay, so how can I help you with your bankruptcy? Or how can I help you, keep your home? And if I can't, it's going to be okay. And I started noticing that my yoga practice was just being with people and breathe with me, give me your hand. That I noticed that that's why I was there, not because I loved paperwork, but because I loved being with people. Yes. And a major turning point was when I was trying to do some energy exchange or help out at I Love Yoga. And I think I was trying to do some administrative work, and I was making an error here and error there. And I can do the administrative thing, but after a while, I hit my breaking point, but I can only go so far, and then I burn out, in these jobs.
Yes.
And Moses is like, and I was like, well, that's what I have to give. That's what I'm good at. I've been doing administrative work for 10 years. That's me. Let me help in the way that I can. And Moses said, when money is really going to flow, when green energy is really going to flow into your life as a career, it's like you need to realize what you're good at. And at first I got upset. I'm like, what does he mean? I'm like, don't tell me what I'm good at, And the stories were coming up, and then, as a child to his father, you resist. And then I took a breath, and then he said, what you're good at is being with people, and that's valuable. You're good at being with people. And from that moment on, I have no shame in asking for money for my time, or asking to be paid for my time, because I know that it's valuable.
Yes.
And I have no weird stories or guilt about it, because the more that I give to a paying client that can afford to pay, then there's more for me to give to a client that can't afford to pay.
Thank you for saying that.
Yes.
And that's really, that's really beautiful. It's like the guy that did the Humans of New York. I don't know if you see the Humans of New York posts.
No.
Humans of New York is it's a series of photos, and they're on Facebook. It was a blog, and now it's a book. And he just takes pictures of people on the street and tells their stories.
Oh, wow.
And then it blew up. It became a book. And then now he just gave $3.2 million to cancer research. He was
Wow.
doing a series of people with cancer, and it just shows, just do what you do.
Yes.
And like you had said earlier, if you do exactly what you do and you don't do it like anyone else, there's no room in the
Yes.
world for two of you. And there's no room in the world to, you're not getting anywhere to try to be somebody else. But if you do it your way, then that's fine. Even with what you don't know, even with what you're learning, even with your quirks and what you're working through. If you do it your way, there's no two of you. So just own who you are.
What does your way look like right now, Sergio? What does your yoga career look like in this moment?
In this moment, I'm doing a lot of privates.
Okay.
I teach about 4 to 5 classes a week.
And what do you teach? You teach yoga classes?
In privates, I do privates one-on-one, mostly for beginners, people that are a little too shy to get into a yoga room, on their own.
Yeah.
And I like to meet them either if I get a studio space or go to their homes, or if I meet at I like to go to the beach or the park or a public place to get them connected with like earthing.
Yes.
And just like really get them outside.
Yes.
And I
I'm
might
so
think it's
blessed in
important.
Florida. There's so many places.
Yeah, there's so many sunny places, and it's just safe, to meet somebody new. And I just start cultivating a friendship, with the person and finding out where they are. And if all they need to do is sit and breathe, then we'll breathe. If all they need to do is sit and talk, we'll talk. If all they need is, advice about diet, then I direct them in the right place, and then I follow up with them the next time. And, have
Awesome.
you been going through with this regimen, and let's work from here, and just getting them more into their bodies,
Yes.
I've done work at recovery centers as well. Had a history of addictive behaviors before, so those are my people. I get them. I speak their language. Like they're down to earth, and there's no veil there. They look at me in the eye and they get me, and they know that I get them. It's like, hello, I've seen you before. Okay.
So inspiring.
So that's really awesome.
Yeah.
And I've done some homeless shelter work with my partner Marie.
Do you get paid at the homeless shelter work?
At the homeless shelter work, there was a small grant, so we did get a little something.
Sometimes you do, sometimes
Sometimes
you
we
don't.
do, sometimes you don't, and what I learned there was it's beautiful work, but yoga teachers, we say yes too much, and I should have stood up for. Even though, this is a great opportunity, how was I being self-serving? I'm not sure, but what is the voice that's saying yes? Why is the voice saying yes?
Yeah.
Because in that situation, it was lovely. I felt myself being able to help people, but I didn't feel the support from the staff. I didn't feel an adequate space. And if I'm not giving the tools, at least the bare minimum, a quiet space and a supportive staff, so I don't have to be a disciplinarian. I think I've talked about this with Sunset many times. If I'm trying to have somebody meditate and somebody is urinating in the corner, it could be a little tough. And these are real world situations that
Yes.
real life gangster yogis like us have to deal with. So,
Word.
Wow.
so then you have to know, God, I'm serving people, but I'm also bleeding myself dry. And
Yes.
and so I think a yoga teacher, because we want to give,
Yes.
but then we need to also set standards.
Sergio, I'm just so present to how mature you are. There's a maturity around what you offer and your value, and I think it's so important for teachers to hear what you're sharing. So thank you for all of that, and thank you for sharing about really there's only place for one of you out there. So don't be afraid to do what you love. And I also want to mention that, the classes that you teach with your beloved Marie and how y'all have created this beautiful workshop together.
Yes, we do a class called Yoga Saj Wednesday nights
Yeah.
at Harris Art Studio in Hollywood. And she's actually been doing the class for about 8 years. She has a strong following.
Wow.
And with me there, we have room for even more students because it's a very restorative class. It's very... it's a rigorous class, but it's just very restorative, and we let them get into the poses, and there's a lot of hands-on. So while they're in child's pose, we really assist and give everybody just enough
Little
love.
massages.
Yeah, and then long shavasana with some footwork and some head work, and
It's
it
just so
really
good.
leads people drop in. People drive from Miami, they drive from West Palm just to come to the class to feel that kind of hands-on.
We need a field trip.
Collaborations,
Word.
y'all. Well, good. And Sergi, is there anything else that you would share for people who are looking into this or want to do it, or maybe they're struggling in getting this going for themselves?
I would find the best teacher training for you, but when you go online, it gets so confusing. I think visit the studio and feel the vibe. And if you have a practice, you already have that awareness. So tap on your thymus gland for a little bit, take a breath, and go into the studio.
Awesome. I love that.
One last thing.
Yes.
If you're struggling as a teacher when you've started, what I learned most in my teacher training, and people laugh when I tell friends and family or people that are not from, or people in New York, for example, that don't know the community here. And I'm like, my training taught me how to be a hustler.
Word.
And I think that's what we need to do. We need to hustle healing and
Yes.
and really show up like you were saying, and like how much you're getting paid. Okay, well, this is what I'm worth, and take it or leave it. And what does your week look like? And like Zayna's been teaching me for so many years, like get out your calendar and figure out what you're worth. And my partner teaches me that too. What is the gas money? What is the preparation? Mm-hmm. What are you sacrificing? And
get real.
Create your value
real.
because
yes.
you are a corporation. You are a business.
Awesome.
Oh yeah.
So
Thank
just
you.
get present to that, and it'll be much easier to make your decisions. And
educate
hustle,
yourself.
man.
You're an entrepreneur, business owner. Get
Yeah.
educated on what that means, what it looks like,
I
what you need to do.
also work on an organic farm. The pay is not the best, but it's not about that. It's what I get while I'm on the farm that strengthens my yoga practice. So I get off the farm, and I'm a stronger yoga teacher physically and
That's your
mentally because of it.
nourishment. That's
Yeah.
what you were talking about, Kimberly.
So all choices, let them feed into your yoga practice, whether through money exchange or any other exchange.
Thank you, Sergio. Wow. So valuable. This is so valuable, you guys. Thank you for sharing. Julie.
Hi.
Julie.
Now for the immature part of the show.
Tell us, girl. Tell us.
Well, I'm Julie, and I love all of you souls that are here, and it's just an honor to be sitting at this panel with all of you. I started my yoga journey, it's got to be like 11 years ago, dabbling and going to yoga classes. And then I actually injured my back doing some tennis, and the doctor suggested yoga. So I started regularly attending class with, anyone know Mark Roberts?
No.
Up in Fort Lauderdale. He had a great class. So I would take yoga, and I was married with 2 little kids, and life was busy, but I was making time for the practice. As my marriage started to go down slope, we'll say, and I had been staying at home for 10 years, I decided to do a kids yoga training. So 2007 or so, I got my kids yoga certification and started teaching after school activities at my daughter's school. And then I got divorced and started working in a law firm.
Must be a common thread here.
I know. So that was an experience for a few years. But I'll leave it at that. But the yoga kept my passion burning. I was reaching out to the children in my community and teaching, but not fully owning it. It was kind of like my little thing I did. Yeah, I do. So really, this went on for years. And at some point, I took another job in a medical office, and I actually gave up the kids yoga for about 1.5 years because I needed to work full time and focus on my 9-to-5 desk job. And I started getting physically ill from going to work. I was going to my office, and I had knots in my stomach, and just on the way, physical pain, and something had to change. So at about that time that I was noticing that, I took this wonderful yoga teacher training after a few kids trainings along the way I had done. I love yoga. Teacher training. Has anyone heard of it? Zayna and Moses. You guys changed the game. Full turnaround. And I don't want to look back, really. So I just call it a life-changing experience where I felt finally like I found the vibe, the energy that I had been missing. And I had a beautiful, full life, mom of 2 beautiful kids, I've been raising, and the kids' stuff was good, But once I got my voice and my confidence from going through training and experimenting and learning so much, just crazy valuable information, I just felt empowered, and I took my kids' teaching to the next level. I started branching out into different studios and schools, and I even have my own brand now, Yoga Twist, which I have, I do my own events as well as in studios and schools.
I'm on television.
I'm on television now. That's right. PBS TV, Kid Vision. Woohoo!
So, Julie, what does your yoga career look like now?
I teach in I Love Yoga Studio and Ayama Studio kids classes, one kids class a week at each. Saturdays at Ayama, Thursday afternoons at I Love Yoga. And then I teach in 3 different schools during the school year. And it's not your typical yoga class or even a kids studio class, because I'll go to, for instance, one preschool hires me to come for 2 hours, and I will teach 6 20-minute classes from ages 12 months through pre-K.
Wow.
5 years old.
Wow.
And the pace is fast, and you've got to get a lot in, but it's just been the most amazing experience this past year. I got the honor of doing that, and I'm going forward with that and another preschool next year for 3.5 hours. I think I go with, half-hour segments. So it's going to be, it's how many classes a week do you teach? I don't know. Do you count 6 20-minute classes and then,
Yeah.
But
that's kind of nice. You get 6
Yeah.
classes in one place, and you don't have
Yeah.
to go anywhere. That's a teacher's dream.
And the kids really and it's really amazing, and I'm always learning. And I'm just so grateful to be doing this. And I am still in my office job that was making me feel like that back then, because I got the courage to create the life the way that I wanted it to look.
Yeah.
And it started in a meditation in my teacher training. I put down my intention in writing, and from then started masterminding with your help. Thank you.
Yes. And creating just the way that you want it to look, and it's constantly in creation. It's ever changing and ever evolving. But so I have part-time. I'm in my office, and I feel blessed. I've been blessed with one of the only windows in the office right in front of me with trees and squirrels. Yay. So even when I'm on that computer, I can look up and see the sky, and I'm just so thankful that it just manifested. And Julie, you also created, you create workshops for kids, and you just create these awesome workshops, designing their own yoga mats, and
teacher trainings for parents and teachers.
You teach teachers and parents how to do kids yoga, and you teach anybody who wants to teach kids yoga. You do a training, and you don't even have to be a yoga teacher to take this training. If you're passionate about kids, you can go out and be a yoga teacher for kids and really make a difference for the future.
It's
the planet.
My passion. I just feel it's so important, and we all do. We all have our passion to share this knowledge and what it's done for us. And I'm just so grateful to be able to get the children at the beginning, forming years of their lives, and really make a difference.
You could so feel your passion, Julie. I've always felt it, and I always appreciate the work that you do, Is there anything else that you would want to share with people who are on this path?
If it calls to you, and I hope it does, just do it, because it's so needed. My main feeling is that now more than ever, it's just so necessary to help each other connect and reconnect. There is so much going on in such a fast pace with the electronics and just the way life is moving. It's super fast and super complicated. And I just feel like we all need to get together and reconnect and help each other to, feel and see and look in each other's eyes and breathe together and, feel our humanness.
Human connection, yes.
Where everything's becoming very mechanical. Not everything. We're here.
Yes.
So just share it. Don't hold it in. Don't hold back. If you have something to share from your heart that can help, please share it.
Thank you. Thank you, Julie.
Thank you.
So valuable for all of us to listen as these amazing teachers are sharing, you know, what it is to have the courage to follow what it is that you're passionate about, what it is to have the courage to go, you know, to really stand in your truth when there's no agreement. Because I know y'all face all kinds of stuff with your families, people around you who don't agree, who think you're crazy for leaving your job. And you do it, and you do it from your hearts. Thank you for having the courage. Sunset Emily Martinez.
Okay, so I'm like probably the newest yoga teacher here. I'm just about to make a year like actually teaching in August. So I'm very new, but I'm very proud of myself like for being where I'm at and being very clear in like the niche thing. But so I started like almost a year ago, and something I got out of teacher training, my first teacher training was at I Love Yoga, was take a risk and create that shit. Like that was like the biggest two things that I got out of that. And so when I first started getting out, I did a lot of subbing, a lot of like drug rehab centers. I would teach at the park. I did a couple like spa day stuff, and I taught with kids for a little while just to see like where, you know, I vibed at, where I felt the most comfortable. And so it ended up being rehab. So like some of the places I teach at, the Cove, Chrysalis, Inspirations. I'm going to be working with a couple other places really soon. And I found out that that's where I felt the most comfortable was at rehab, which is crazy, right? And I love it because I feel like for me, it's like, that's where it's like, they can really take what it is to be raw and real. Like I don't have to do anything or be anything or anything like that. I could just really totally be me.
Exactly.
Yeah, and like I come with my fuck yous and all that. No one's gonna get like, ooh, you know. And it really inspired me to see like, where do I want to take this now? And so I just want to immerse myself in that. So I love teaching, but I'm also getting into like working at group homes and stuff like that because I want to get more knowledge. I want to see what would really, you know, benefit as far as yoga for them, like programs and stuff like that.
Elaborate on group homes for those who don't know what a group home is.
Okay, so right now, one of the places I teach at is a girls group home. So some of the people are runaways, some of them have had human trafficking, stuff like that. And so what I'm taking on now is like, as a yoga teacher, if you're going to have that niche, like if you're going to teach in something like that, like, you know, kids, you know, maybe go to school, see what they like to do, whatever. So that's really what I'm doing now. So I'm taking on the practice of just like kind of like going undercover and seeing like what is working, what is not working, and how I can be able to like bridge the gap between, you know, that language and the language of yoga. So that's, you know, and just create it. That's like my biggest advice is like, you know, a lot of people think when they get into this, I have to teach at a studio, I have to do this, I have to do that. And it's just like wherever you feel the most comfortable, wherever you vibe, like just go to that and then create something there. So, and I'm just happy to have found it like so early because I know that sometimes it takes people a couple years to see like their niche and like where they feel comfortable
or confident, like where you feel confident because you know, you obviously feel confident in the rehab centers because you really get you bring something there. Sunset, I want to add something to you that's I think is special, needs to be mentioned too. You know, you treat everything that you do in a very what's the word? Very professional, and you're very rigorous in what you do. You create structures, you're very organized, you're very professional about your teaching. You know, I've been working with Sunset. We've been developing programs for the corporate arena for, you know, people who work in the business environment. Sunset is now creating a program for the rehab center. And it takes a lot of diligence. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of commitment to, you know, work for yourself and take the time and put that time in without a boss, without accountability, just your own commitment and your own passion with what you're up to. And I've seen you grow and I've seen you develop these things and really go at it. Like, she keeps me like on the game, and it's such a pleasure and an honor to work with you in that capacity and develop these programs and put them out and watch how they work. And it's amazing. Like this, like you said, take the risk and freaking create it and allow for it to happen.
Yeah, because, like I've just learned that yoga is not just the poses. Like some people gravitate towards more of the teaching. Some people want to know more about nutrition. And the way I see it, like at least for rehab and where I'm in my life, I'm creating a new foundation for me. And I'm using yoga to create that new foundation on how I look at all the aspects of my life. Exactly. So I know at rehab, it's like I'm going through my own rehab. And I guess that's why I connect, because they're there to create a new foundation for themselves, because obviously the Band-Aid stuff wasn't working. So it's just like I want to bring things to them and like ask them those tough questions and do that. So that way they can really like dig deep and really be free. And, that's what yoga is about. It's like getting to the root and releasing that shit. So yeah, I really love it. It's like amazing.
Oh, I can feel the passion. And I want to mention something that you mentioned, Sunset, and Sergio, you mentioned too, and it's so important. As a yoga teacher, you're not just teaching yoga. Like, you're really interested in people's lives. Like you sitting down, Sergio, and really being with people and listening to them. And I know you do that a lot too, Sunset. When you have your privates, you really sit down with people before you even start, and you just listen, and you're interested in what's going on with them, what's important for them, what concerns do they have. Because, we may not have all the answers, but we can guide them to different things that they can use to heal and transform their lives, and just really guide them with questions also. And that's who we are. We're coaches, we're guides, we're listeners, and we're supporters, and ultimately, guiding them to a more holistic life without giving them the answers, because heck, we don't have the answers. We're figuring it out for ourselves too. And we have a set of tools. We have access to this wisdom. We have access to these teachings, and it is so valuable. And here we're sharing it with people.
I call us we're like therapists. It's yoga therapy. That's what I call it. It's like, I always remind my students, it's like, like you're gonna come in and you're gonna feel really relaxed, but you have to do the work also. That's why I've called it therapy, because it's just like I'm helping you guide yourself through your path of enlightenment, but you have to do the work.
And I'm doing it too, and I'm not pretending to have my shit together.
Oh yeah. Oh, it gets real. I'm like, yo, I came in. Oh shit. Like, I feel you. Like, this is what's coming up, and I know somebody else here, like you said, Kim, like somebody else might be going through the same things too, and learning how to express those things, but again, like this is their time too. So it's like it helps you find that balance too. So
y'all, so that's all the time we have today. What should we do? Who wants to lead the meditation?
Oh my god.
Gosh, it's tough. Maybe we could chant or something. Let's take a breath together, you guys. I'm just so moved. I'm so inspired by who we are, And it's a very, it's an industry that is growing. There are a lot of yoga teachers out there that are, it's a popular thing right now. And it's important that we take it seriously, that we value ourselves, and that we support one another. Coming together as yoga teachers, sharing our resources, and also uplifting one another, because we're in the same game together. Up to transforming, up to sharing, up to spreading light and love in the world. So if you are a yoga teacher out there and you're thinking about it, thank you. Thank you for taking that risk. Thank you for taking the time to invest in yourself so that you can give back to the world, to the planet, and to humanity. So let's take a moment right now and sit up wherever you are. Let's breathe together. Let's breathe in life, prana. And exhale out, let it go. Present to greatness. Present to spirit. A thread that runs through each one of us, igniting our hearts, shining our eyes. Let's do one Om together. Om it out. Inhale. Om. Shanti. Peace.
Peace, y'all.
Peace.
Namaste.
Thank you. We see you. Thanks for tuning in. We love you.
Bye.
Blessing.
Broadcasting from the heart of downtown Hollywood. This is SoFloRadio.com.